Okay. The old machine gun approach to photography. This has been a big problem in my life, I can tell you that right now. At night, I toss and turn in my bed. Did I take enough shots? Should I slow down and not take too many shots? Or did I take a lot of shots and maybe I'll get something? Terrible question. Back and forth, back and forth. Now, I also work with my son. He's 40 years old. He's been taking pictures for over 20 years, and we've been working together as instructors, doing the workshops. We go out and we photograph together, and we have the wonderful opportunity to be able to argue back and forth and discuss photography. We each look at each other's prints and we give feedback. That's a very valuable thing that we have, and most people don't have that. It's a shame. And we talk about frequency. He says that I'm stiff with the camera. I'm not shooting enough. And I have nightmares, like I said, at night of shooting too much and missing it, guessing. I don't want to guess. See, guessing is really bad for me, because all my life as a photographer, I've studied and tried to go by the principles set down by Bresson and Frank and Smith and people like that. You don't use the machine gun approach to photography. This is what they said. They said that. Even Ansel Adams said that. You can look it up. You're guessing. I'm so afraid of guessing, because when I approach a shot, it's like the 5 F's. I find a shot. Then I have to figure the shot. I turn away usually from the center of interest. After I identify the center of interest, I look away. I know the center of interest isn't going anywhere. It's going to be there. Now I have to look all around for the important details, elements, and factors that are present in every subject area, even if it's out in the middle of a desert, all right? So I'm working my tail off on this shot. I'm not just throwing the camera around. Oh, shot here, bang. Oh, shot this. Oh, and there he is over there. Click, 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 and maybe I'll get something. Click, click, click. Give the camera to a monkey. You give the camera to a monkey and let him take 10,000 shots, you're going to have something. I don't want that, because if I did that, it wasn't my shot. It was the monkey shot. I had no control over it. When I go click, I click, and click, I click. How much did I concentrate on that shot? Now, there are photographers that do that, but I can't do that. I don't want to do any guessing. I want to work my tail off for each shot. What are the elements and factors involved? Okay, we got this here, and we got this here, and we got the subject matter here, the center of interest here. All right, well, how much of this, we got the center of interest. That's the main thing we want to emphasize, okay? Now we got this detail here. Say it's the front end of a car, or it's a whole car. And over here we got a mud puddle. Okay, so if we include all of the mud puddle in the whole car, that makes the center of interest too small. Now, to make the center of interest closer, to get closer to the center of interest and make it larger, we can do that if we cut the mud puddle in half and we cut the car in half. That's fine, because now we still got a mud puddle. The viewer will see that it is a mud puddle, and we still got half the car, so the viewer will identify that as a car if that's what we feel is important in the shot, but we've made the center of interest bigger. See, by getting close, by moving the camera around. And maybe there's a trash can over here or something that's distracting, we can move the camera away from that. We still have the mud puddle, we still have the car, and we still have the center of interest. So this is all brain work, constantly fast brain work, because we're photographing in real time. We have to get these gears spinning around in our head. There's no time for going click, 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 and take the terrible chance, the nightmare possibility that we'll miss the shot because we're not looking through the viewfinder and we're not trying hard enough and we're shooting so fast that we don't see the various details and elements and factors that will give the center of interest strength if they're incorporated into the photograph correctly and effectively. So the machine gun approach, I don't get it, you know. I know this is a guy from New York, Gary, you know. I love you, Gary. But he said, what do you take 10 rolls a day to stay in shape? I mean, come on. He died and he had 10,000 rolls of film. There hadn't even been processed in his apartment or something like that. I don't know. And that's fine. And he was a wonderful photographer. He got some wonderful shots. But what was his shot miss ratio? Mine is 99%. Okay? If I get one shot that I can use in a show out of 3 rolls of film, that's 99% failure. But that's fine, you know, I think most photographers have that kind of a ratio, or even less maybe. Cartier-Bresson, I don't think he was any different. He didn't take a whole bunch of shots. You can look in his book, the notebook, the scrapbook. the famous shot of the guy in the bull ring, the guy with the monocle that looked like a monocle. His glasses had the reflection. The other guy coming in from behind, from the door. I think he took about 7 shots of that and picked one of them. That's fine. My idea is to get it on the first shot. Of course, everybody's idea is that. But you keep shooting until you disturb the subject or the subject disappears. Early in my career, I would take that one shot and I would leave. And I'd feel terrible later. I'd say, why didn't you take more shots? You didn't disturb the subject was still there. But you were so egotistical, you thought the first shot was good enough. Well, that's not good enough. We're paid as photographers. We're responsible. And not everybody gets paid, but I mean, it stands to reason that we have a responsibility on our shoulders to get the best shots we can. So after the first shot, why not try a different angle or a different timing or a different format or a different point of focus? And keep working until you either disturb the subject or the subject disappears. I'm not saying take a whole roll of film on the subject, but at least cover it more, not just the one shot. But I'm just, in my opinion, I keep saying my opinion. Let's face it, all my videos are in my opinion. I'm no expert. I'm not trying to put down a fact. I don't want to create any hostilities with people. I don't want there to be any arguments with this. I'm trying to help photography. I'm trying to help you as a student of photography to get better, to bring out your unique personal vision. So if I make a mistake and say something that you feel is wrong, let's not argue about it. Let's be friends and work together to improve our photography. Let's raise the bar of the photographic potential and try to avoid, like I do, a shooting frenzy where you're wasting film, but more importantly, you're wasting time. You take 5 shots, and my nightmare is that if I took 5 quick shots, the real shot was in between number 2 and number 3. And I missed it because I was too busy taking shots. No motor drives. I've never had a motor drive. I never want a motor drive. Because each shot with me counts, and each shot I sweat out. And I don't get very many good shots. Sorry, but anyway, this is my opinion. Think about it. Go out and work, and think about frequency of shots. That's all I can say.